name's Ray and I am fucking buzzing to do this video. I've been playing around with this video idea for months, probably months, and I am super excited to finally be doing it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, there will be more videos like this to follow. For those of you that aren't aware, there's this big thing that we do on BookTube, which is reading other booktubers' favourite books. I love those videos, and when I say I love, I mean I'm fucking obsessed with them. I mean I watch them constantly. I think they are god tier, endless entertainment, and I've always wanted to do one, but with my own twist. So this is going to be the first installment of You Are What You Read, Chandler Ainsley edition. If you guys have never watched Chandler Ainsley's channel, she is elite, amazing, beautiful, fabulous, iconic. We stan. Chandler Ainsley is a booktuber here on YouTube, as you can imagine, and she has a very different reading taste to me. I like thriller, I like horror, I like weird, kind of gross stuff. Chandler likes romance, and a lot of it, and particularly romance of the spicy variety, which I don't like. However, I'm willing to give it a try. For this video, rather than doing your bog standard reading what other booktubers read, I'm going to shake it up a little bit. Instead of just reading Chandler's favourite books, I am going to split this into 5 categories. Category 1 is the all-time favourite. As you can imagine, the name kind of gives that away. I'm going to be reading Chandler's all-time favourite book, Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. I have heard her talk about it constantly, non-stop throughout the past few years, and I actually have no idea what it's about. So, I'm gonna dive in. Knowing Chandler, it's probably a bit of a bully romance, and there's going to be some intense enemies to lovers, and I'm kind of excited. Category 2 is reading their favourite trope. For this category, I've decided I'm going to read Dear Eva by Elsa Madden Mills, I believe is her name. Chandler has mentioned this book in at least 2 of her videos, one which was her mutual pining recommendations, and the second being good read viewers liked, but did I? The third category is books that she recommends to non-romance readers, aka me. Or people who are just kinda wanting to dip their toes into romance and aren't too sure where to go. For this, Chandler recommended Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. Also, don't know what this is about, but she recommended it in her video Intro to Romance, so I've decided to go for it. The next category is the wild card, which is basically any book that she's mentioned that I'm kinda thinking I want to read, for one reason or another. For this one, I have picked Unrequited by Saffron A. Kent. I think this will be really funky. She recommended it in her dark romance recommendations, and it looks really fucked up, which is kind of straight up my alley and aligns with the kind of stuff I normally read. The final category is the one I am actually most excited about, because I rarely see people involve these kind of books when they're doing their, reading like other booktubers. The last category is a book that they DNF'd or hated. And for this one, I'm going to read Sick Fucks by Tilly Cole, which Chandler actually mentioned she DNF'd on her Goodreads. I'm not sure if she actually mentioned it in a video. The reason why I want to do this whole 5 category thing is to really get a better understanding of Chandler's reads. We've got her favourite book, which is Punk 57, and we have a book that we know she didn't like, hence the DNFing. Sick Fucks. But then we have 3 books that she's recommended for one reason or another. I feel like by reading these 5 books, I'm going to get a better understanding of what Chandler likes and what Chandler doesn't like in her reads. And I feel like it'll help me understand her more as a reader. Plus, these are the books that kind of interested me the most out of everything that she said. And I'm buzzing to do this video. I think this is going to be so much fun. I don't read romance, as I said. It's not something I ever look for. I don't like sex in books, which is kind of an issue because Chandler is a fan of the steam. But hopefully by reading her favourites, books that she recommends, and then one that she didn't really like, I'll be able to fully understand the genre better. I'll be able to understand when it comes to romance what doesn't work, what for Chandler really does work, and maybe, with those 3 in the middle, I'll find something that I like. To be honest, I think I'm gonna like the Unrequited. It sounds real messed up. I'm looking forward to it. And that's it. I'm gonna update you guys along the way whenever I am reading each of these books, and I'll let you guys see how I'm feeling about it, what my thoughts are. I'm super excited to do this video, and I hope you guys enjoy. If you couldn't guess, I'm a big fan of Chandler, so I'm super excited to do this. Popping back in to say, in true Chandler fashion, I am actually going to be using my Kindle for all of these books, and I'm going to be relying quite heavily on Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited and I have an interesting relationship, so we're gonna see if we get on better terms through doing this video. Hello! So last night I started reading Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. I figured that out of all of the books that I was going to read for this, that Attachments was probably going to be the best starter. It was gonna like ease my way into the whole romance genre thing, and I kind of love it, and I didn't expect that. If you are anything like me and you had no idea what Attachments is about, let me give you a brief little lowdown. We have Beth, who we only ever really see through emails, as she is emailing her friend Jennifer all day fucking every day throughout work, talking constant shite, which, not gonna lie, very amusing. Also, not gonna lie, confused me at the beginning because I was like, why are they emailing each other? This book is set in 1999. I'm a dumbass. It literally says it on the first page. How am I in university? How? I don't have enough brain cells for this shit. Our second character that we see is Lincoln. He works in the same company as Beth and Jennifer. They all work in a news company, newspaper place. Words aren't my friends today. Words really aren't my friends. Moving on. And basically, Lincoln's job is to read everybody's emails, because he's the security guy. I would have some moral qualms with that job, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. I started reading this last night on my Kindle, and now I'm 80% of the way through it. I don't know how this happened, but it happened. I am actually really liking Attachments thus far, which I find very surprising considering the fact I have a bit of a up and down relationship with Rainbow Rowell books. I always tell myself I don't like them, but here I am, loving it. Is Chandler Ainsley going to be the person that finally tips me into liking romance? Is this somebody start knocking on Disney's door, because I think this is a whole new world for me. Anyways, I just kind of wanted to do this update to inform you guys that I started reading Attachments, because I'm pretty sure if you give me another fucking 20 minutes, I'm gonna finish it. How is this happening? With that said, I am going to get back to reading this. I am super excited to see how it ends. As I said, I don't know anything really about this novel, but I have seen some people say the ending surprised them, or it wasn't what they expected and they didn't like it and stuff like that. I know what I want from the ending, which might not be what most people want from the ending, because I like a pessimistic ending, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I will update you guys whenever I finish this and tell you my ending thoughts. So yeah, that's it. Sorry for the noise, by the way. I'm sitting in my living room and the world outside is very loud. Anyways, I'm gonna get back to reading. Peace. Hello, this is an incredibly random check-in. I'm literally sitting on my kitchen table and we're just not gonna talk about it. But I finished reading Attachments. I really liked it. I don't like romance. I've lived my life telling myself I don't like romance books. I feel like a changed person. What the fuck? Oh my god, this vlog's gonna be so insane. But yeah, I ended up giving it 4 stars. Why didn't I give it 5? I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel like it was quite 5-star, but I really, really liked it. Hello again. Please ignore the shitty lighting and my hair and literally everything. Also the noise. I'm running a bath right now. So it is the same night, to be entirely honest. It is about an hour after I just filmed that clip, and I have already started reading Dear Eva. If you didn't gather from the fact that I ended up reading Attachments in less than 12 hours, not including the fact when I was asleep, I'm kind of on a book kick right now. I'm binge reading. Is this a worrying sign for me? Maybe. Oops. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to ignore it. Dear Ava was the recommendation for mutual pining that Chandler gave, and I don't know. I'm only about 10% into it. It seems interesting. It's set in a high school and it follows a girl called Ava a year after she was attacked one night in the woods, and she has no memory of what happened or who attacked her. It started off in the way that I feel like all like new adult romances do that are like set in high school and stuff like that. It was very like, I don't know how to explain it. It just had that like bitchy school vibe. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like the early 2000s like bitchy school vibe, it had that. It seems like Dear Ava basically is going to follow Ava as she tries to figure out who the fuck attacked her and who saved her afterwards. Because of course, a boy saved her and left her on the front porch of her friend's house so her friend and her parents could take her to the hospital. So, he's a secret of knight in shining armour. I am quite interested to find out what happens in this. I believe our love interest is a guy called Knox who has a pretty gnarly scar across his face and sounds like an utter douchebag, but he might be in love with Ava. I don't know. Like I said, I'm only like 2 chapters in. I have no idea what's going on. I'm interested, but I'm also confused. I'll keep you guys updated. Like I said, I'm running a bath right now, so I am going to continue reading while I'm in the bath, because I'm that kind of person, and even though I would never take a paperback into the bath, I seem to have no moral qualms about taking my Kindle in. One of those things would end a lot more disastrously than the other, but I seem not to care. Okay, so I will update you post-bath, probably looking like a lobster. I like to boil amongst bubbles. But that's just me. It's 4 a.m. and I have encountered the first sex scene. Why is it so funny? Hello, it's the next day. So I ended up finishing reading Dear Ava last night. Yes, I read it all in essentially one sitting. Am I surprised? No, not at all. Since I ended up reading it up until, I don't know, 5 in the morning, I couldn't really do many check-ins. What I did do, however, was send my friend my thoughts. And, you can see those here. Obviously, I don't want to get into spoilers or anything, so I won't go too in-depth on my thoughts right now. I might do a little review of all of these books at the end of this video, but for now, I'm just going to tell you, I ended up giving it 3 stars. I was really enjoying it until I got to about the 80% mark, and then I promptly started hating it. Oh my god, I hated the ending of it. I hated it so much. It did my head in. It just melted me. Also, I've noticed in all the romance books I've read, obviously I've only read 2 right now, I've seen that dual narratives seem to be a big thing. I had messaged my friend about this being like, oh my god, like why do romances seem to always have like dual narratives? And she messaged me back being like, it's so the readers know that the guy isn't actually a dickhead, even though he is. When I tell you I fucking squeal, oh my god. I'm not too sure which book I'm gonna read now. I think I might start Unrequited, and then I think I'm going to do Sick Fox, and then I kind of want to finish on Punk 57 because that one is Chandler's favourite. So I'll update you guys whenever I start my next read. Right now I'm actually really tired. Is it because I stayed up all night reading? Maybe. But we're not going to talk about it. We're not gonna judge me for it. Thank you. The end. Goodbye. I think I'm gonna watch some episodes of Grey's Anatomy and I might sleep even though it's like 6 p.m. Hopefully my next update will be a little bit more lively. Also, can I just come in to say the sex scenes were so funny. I don't think they're meant to be funny, but they were really funny to me. They were really funny. The bathroom. The auditorium. What? I have so many thoughts on this book. I'll probably talk about them in the end. What? Yeah, that's it. Goodbye. Hello, this is a mini check-in just to say I started reading Sick Fox last night. I only read about a chapter of it, and then I read another chapter or two when I was on the bus today. If you hear any noises in the background, I am currently cat sitting. Boba, the cat, I have just stopped playing with him, so he has run off with his toy. What are my thoughts on Sick Fox right now? I'm kind of liking it. I'm not looking at, oh my god, my forehead literally said lighthouse right now. Can we please ignore that? Can I just put my glasses up here and we'll pretend? Sexy! But no, Sick Fox, it's quite interesting. I'm not reading it as a romance. I'm more reading it as questionable things happening and people respond in questionable ways? Question mark? Basically, from what I've gathered thus far, people are calling it like an Alice in Wonderland retelling. There is like a lot of Alice in Wonderland things about it. The main character, Ellis, is obsessed with Alice in Wonderland. But then again, whenever the novel starts, she is 7. So can you blame her? Basically, the novel starts off when Ellis meets Heathen. Heathen. This kid's name is Heathen. I'm dead. And they end up becoming best friends. And he starts calling her Dolly, and she calls him Rabbit because she says that he is like the rabbit in Alice in Wonderland, and she carries around a China doll. And Heathen is a very strange little child who likes to rip the wings off of butterflies. Also, saying that, the first chapter was written so beautifully. I really appreciated it. There was something about the language in it that just made my soul ascend. The prodigal son has disappeared. I might continue reading Sick Fox, but I'm reading it on my phone right now because it's not on Kindle Unlimited, not on Kindle, and I didn't want to buy the paperback. So I'm reading it on my phone. I might switch over and start reading the unrequited on my Kindle. I don't really have a problem with reading 2 books at a time. It's not something I think is a big... I'm gonna go check on this cat. So, the cat is at war with his toy. I got concerned because I don't have pets and I've never had pets, so I hear a cat go meh and I jump. He's fine. What was I saying? Sick Fox. Yeah, I'm interested by it. It seems like a really weird book. Really weird. And really fucked up, as Chandler did say. But yeah, I'll update you guys on my thoughts a little later on. Sorry again for the shaky hands cam. I don't have my tripod. I'm gonna go back to cat sitting and I might read a little bit more. I finished reading Sick Fox. What? So, I finished Sick Fox. I definitely see why Chandler DNF'd it. I definitely see it. So, it took me substantially longer to read Sick Fox than it did to read the other 2 books. It actually took me... How many days? What day is it? What day is it? It's Tuesday. I started reading it on Friday, so it took that long. Then again, I was busy for a couple of those days, but whatever, we'll ignore that, yes. So, it took me a bit longer to finish it. It was very strange. Very strange. I understand why Chandler said that some themes were just downright gratuitous because they were brought up a lot, talked about a lot, emphasized a lot. This definitely isn't a book for anyone with morality. Maybe. It did give me big, like, kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, Joker, Harley, that kind of vibe. It was messed up, and I found it interesting. See, to be entirely honest, and I said this to my friend Claire, the one, aka Boba's mother, the cat, my friend, yeah. I said this to her the night that I was at her house looking after her cat. I said that it weirdly reminds me of something I would have read on Wattpad in 2015. And I don't know how else to explain it unless I go into like spoilers, but it just gives me like 2015, like angsty, very questionable Wattpad. It gives me that kind of vibe. Also, they shagged literally every single chapter. I don't care if that's a spoiler, I'm telling you it. Once I got like to chapter 10, every single chapter, they shagged. And I was like, good for you, enjoy, whatever. Also, clocks. TikTok, coming for Kesha's gig, apparently. I have a lot of weird thoughts on this book. It was an adventure to read it. I didn't actually end up giving it a rating because I don't know what to rate it. I don't know if I will rate it, because like I said, it gave me big Wattpad vibes, and I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else. Like, if you ever read on Wattpad when you were younger, you wouldn't rate what you were reading, so it gave me that kind of vibe. So I'm just kind of here like, do I rate it? What do I rate it? Because there were so many plot holes and so much questionable content. So that was sick fucks. I am going to read The Unrequited next, by Saffron Kent, I'm pretty sure is her name. Today is actually the 1st of June, so it is the first day of Whatever You Want-a-thon, which is being ran by Maddie. By the time this video goes up, it should hopefully still be June, fingers crossed. And whatever-a-thon is currently happening. Woo! Are you in it? Tell me. Woo, let's have a chat. So yes, I'm going to read The Unrequited next. I don't know if it fits any of my prompts for Whatever You Want-a-thon, but I'm gonna read it because I've had this video planned for like a month. So yeah. Hello. So I have started reading The Unrequited, and I have thoughts thus far. So basically I'm a couple of chapters in, like 4 chapters in, I think. I don't really know. But this girl called Layla is the protagonist, and she has some issues. She drinks, she smokes, she parties, but she's trying to be good and not do any of that right now. So she's seeing a therapist, and she's also dealing with the fact that she's in love with her stepbrother. So that's a thing. The stepbrother, however, it seems, is not the love interest. Thank God for that. The love interest seems to be her poetry professor at uni. Now, the reason why I find this really funny is because I do poetry in university. I do a creative writing degree. And the classroom scenes are very funny to me. Very funny. Because apparently the poetry professor is a published poet. And it's a very weird, surreal experience to me because my professors are poets. And it's just really weird. The thing that you find when you do creative writing in uni, or maybe this is just my university, all of our professors are like crackheads. They're so funny, but they're like disheveled messes. Like all the creative writing professors are. It's just the thing. They're disheveled, they're constantly stressed and really desperately in need of trimming their beards. So imagining the guy from The Unrequited as a poetry professor is really funny to me, because he's like just described as like tall and angry and brooding and attractive and whatever. And I can't picture him because I keep picturing my poetry professors, which is just really funny. Oh my god. I can't. But yeah, I'm 15% into it right now, I think. At least that's what my Kindle's telling me. And yeah, it's proving to be rather strange. I'm definitely sensing a theme with all of these books that I've read. Every love interest, every guy is very tall with dark brown hair. Like in all 4 of the books that I've read. And I picked these ones at random. Chandler, honey, you have a type. Not mad about it, but I would love a short boy and some romance. Why don't we love on short boys more in romance? Give me the short boys. I love them. But yeah, I'm gonna bounce. I am currently reading with some sprints in the background, courtesy of Maddie from Book Person Blog. Mwah, angel icon. Love her. So, I'm gonna get back to my book. And I'll update you guys probably when I finish it, because I never do updates. Whee! So, I have 2 comments to make. Actually, before I make those comments, I'm going to say this. I feel like Chandler right now because literally every time I see her do a taste test, she's like sitting like this, giving her updates. What I wanted to say was, okay, so this girl, Layla, her last name is Robinson. Our man, Mr. Thomas, the teacher, the poet, keeps calling her Miss Robinson, and all I hear in my head is Dustin Hoffman's voice going, Mrs. Robinson! It kills me, because anytime he says it, it's just Dustin Hoffman in my head saying Mrs. Robinson. And I'm like, this is definitely not the vibe we're meant to be going for right now, but alas, it's the vibe that we're on. Also, in case anybody wasn't aware of this, but this has happened now twice in the 4 romance books I've read. That's a 50-50. Do not put your mouth on someone's fresh tattoo. That's unsanitary. Do you realise the risk of infection? Why do none of these authors know anything about tattoo etiquette? I mean, hello. Someone just sat and stabbed your body for several, I was going to say hours, but in this case, minutes to an hour, mayhaps. I don't know how long their tattoos took, I don't care. Someone just sat and stabbed your body, and now you have an open wound that is healing, which has ink in it. Why do you want saliva on that? Why do you want somebody's tongue on that? I don't understand romance authors, I just don't. Hello, I look like a drowned rat, please ignore that. I am just out of the shower because I said hygiene? Okay, anyways, I ended up finishing the Unrequited last night whenever I was watching some whatever-a-thon sprints, and I have thoughts. Similarly with Sick Fox, I actually have no idea what to rate this. Part of me loved it, and part of me violently hated it. What? I loved how morally dubious all of the characters were. That was iconic. Loved that. I love how, like, deeply questionable the relationship between Thomas and Layla got. That was just chef kiss perfect. And it was, like, unapologetically, like, questionable. And I really enjoyed that. I love morally dubious characters. However, it was just porn. It was just porn. And I was sitting there reading the porn for the plot. Bitch, who does that? I really like the plot. But they did shag every single chapter. And quite violently. Oh my god, wait, no. Okay, I actually have a quote. I have a quote from the book which literally describes how excessive it was. Okay, let me find that. I am a real booktuber. I have quotes to back up my opinions. Love that for me. But literally, Layla said, and I fucking quote, raging, borderline lunatic fucking. Borderline lunatic. That was it, y'all. That was it. That was the thing that happened. Also, I could not help myself. I literally, like, highlighted so many weird quotes from this because I was, like, big ass mood. Like, literally at one point, like, our man's Thomas is like, it's the fact she stood up in a class full of people and read her shitty poem out loud. And I was like, big mood. I was like, me? Every time I get up and I read something in my poetry class, that's me. Also, Layla saying, I'm beginning to think I'm the worst harlot ever, was just an iconic moment. Just putting that out there. So yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to rate this. That's great. That's fabulous. I really liked it, but at the same time, I'm like, what am I meant to rate this? Because, like, this has been my brain the entire time that I was reading it. Just all those pauses, that's been me, that's been my brain. I mean, if you want some porn that has a plot, I recommend it. I don't know. It was interesting. I'm not mad that I read it, because like I said, I actually really liked the plot. Which I feel like is such a weird thing to say. I don't know, maybe I'll decide on, like, a rating for it within the next couple of days whenever I'm wrapping this up, but yeah, for now, those are my thoughts. I don't want to obviously get into spoilers or anything. I'm finding it really difficult to talk about these without doing spoilers. What can I say? I like to dive into details and I can't do that. Love that for me. Anyways, I'm going to go because I have a wrap up I need to film. Yes, it is already the 4th of June. Am I only now filming a wrap up? Yes. Also, I probably shouldn't have said what date it is, because whenever this video comes out, you know, in like a month, people are gonna be like, wow, you take a long time to do things. And I'll be like, yeah. Yeah, I do. I can't even argue with it. Love that for me. Please ignore my squinting and any noise. I'm currently sitting outside. You can see inside my kitchen. But I am currently sitting outside right now and I am reading Punk 57. So I started reading Punk 57 last night and I am so confused. What is happening in this novel? So from what I've gathered, the two leading characters are Misha and Ryan. So they have been like pen pals for years. Love that. They write each other letters. Very cute. And they've never met, but they write each other letters and they're in high school. Facebook? No? Okay. This book is so weird. Literally from the get-go, I am so confused as to what is going on. We start with like a party where the two of them meet, but they don't know it's each other. And then next thing I know, it's like 10 months later, no, not 10 months later, 3 months later, and Misha's sister, I think, is dead, which happens in the first chapter, and they've stopped all forms of contact because Misha's just like disappeared, and Ryan's really confused and pissed off at him. And now in school there's like vandalism from this person known as Punk, who I'm assuming is Misha, but I haven't a clue what's going on. I'm very confused. I mean, I'm enjoying it, it's well written, it's interesting, but I have no idea what's going on. I will maybe update when I have an idea what's going on, but for now I think I'm just going to sit here and continue reading and continue being confused. Very fun. Update, I just want to add, why in like all of these novels do literal like 17-year-olds have tattoos? What tattoo artist with a brain would tattoo a 17-year-old? You ain't legal for that. Are you taking care of that? Where'd you get the money, bro? Hello. I, again, have you guys set in one of my brush pots because I can't be bothered lifting up my tripod. Sexy, very sexy, I know. So, I finished reading Punk 57. And I feel like I've committed a crime against humanity for my rating. Right when I finished reading it, I ended up giving Punk 57 2 stars. Part of me wants to raise it to a 3 because I feel like I was too in my emotions when I finished reading it. But also at the same time, I didn't like it. I'm really sad that I didn't like it. So I don't know if I said this at the beginning, but I actually saved reading Punk 57 to the end because A, it was Chandler's favourite book, and B, I was actually really excited to read it. I thought I would really like it. And I'm really sad that I didn't. I'm so sad I didn't like it! Let's be real. What I did like about it was I really like Penelope Douglas's writing style. I find the characters really funny. I loved the back and forth and everything to do with that. I found the writing really easy to read, very interesting. I feel like I might actually pick up another Penelope Douglas book, even though I don't read romance. And all of her books are romance? I don't know. I want to give her another try because I feel like Punk 57 and I just didn't mesh. And I feel like the reason why we didn't mesh was because I couldn't get over how unbelievable it all was. Just me. Okay. I don't know if it was the whole breaking and entering, semi-stalking, weird plot twist at the end, which made me not like the book as much as I could have, but I have thoughts and I have feelings and I'm overall disappointed. I'm disappointed and I wish I wasn't, but I am. You might be thinking to yourself, hey, you read Sick Fox and that's like the most unrealistic book ever, why are you banging on about realism? When I went into reading Sick Fox, I knew it was unrealistic. I knew it was not going to try to be realistic. It was just pure fiction chaos. But Punk 57 felt like it was written to take place in the real world, you get me? and then it felt like Pretty Little Liars, low-key, like a CW drama. Is that the channel Pretty Little Liars was on? I don't know. I'm not American. I don't know these things. But honestly, I can't really get into why it left me kind of disappointed without getting into spoilers. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it. But that is my main feeling towards it, to be honest. I'm disappointed. It was a really hyped book. I saw tons and tons of people love it, not just Chandler, and I was really hoping I would like it. Because I've discovered throughout this vlog that even when there is sex in books, I can kind of ignore that and read it for everything else. Because some of these books were real good. Real good. So yeah, that's my main thoughts on Punk 57. I have now finished this reading vlog. I've been planning this video for like a month. So the thought that I've now finished it is very strange to me. Well, to be fair, I'm probably going to do an outro. So, I'll see you for that. So, let's have a chat. I honestly do not know how to feel about the fact that I have come to the end of this video. I've been waiting to film this for so long that honestly I kind of don't want it to end. But I'm also really excited to post it, and in order to do that, I kind of have to do the outro. So, here we are. But before we dive into my overall thoughts and everything, let's have a little breakdown on my ratings versus Chandler's ratings. The first book that I read was Attachments by Rainbow Rowell, and I actually rated this book 4 stars. Chandler had originally rated it 5 stars, and I can definitely see why she loved it as much as she did. I really enjoyed this book. It was just so fun. And it was such a simple and easy read. I really love books that are written in a kind of different sort of medium than we commonly expect when we go into something that's prose. I really enjoyed the email format. I liked how the timeline was so long and not a lot happened. It's one of my favourite tropes in books whenever a whole lot of nothing really ends up meaning a lot. I still don't know how to accurately explain that. If you understand what I mean, like, please drop it down below. Please tell me that I'm not the only person that really vibes with that. Like, a whole lot of nothing means a whole lot of something. Like, is there a word for that? I don't know if there's a word for that, but I really vibed with it. Attachments was probably one of my favourite reads, and it was a good one to start off with. It really lulled me into the whole romance genre, and I really am happy that I've read it. The next book I read was Dear Eva by Ilse Madden Mills. So Chandler gave this book, as you can imagine, 5 stars. I, however, only ended up giving it 3, for a couple of reasons. I really did like Dear Eva at the start when I was reading it, because it was just so absurd and kind of weird, and it was sort of like a revenge plot, and I vibed with that. I vibe with a little bit of revenge. So I was enjoying it, but there were bits of it that didn't mesh with me, and that includes the entire ending. Once I hit about the 80% mark, I started to just not vibe with the book on a whole. Maybe this is just me, but I really don't like books that end in the way Dear Eva did. I'm not going to talk about how it ended, because that is a spoiler. But if you've read it, you know. And it's just not my kind of vibe. And if you haven't read it, well, you also know it's not my kind of vibe. The next book I read was Sick Fucks by Tilly Cole. Chandler ended up DNFing this book at 60%. I, however, powered through. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. And let me explain why that happened. This book was absurd. Like, utterly absurd. And genuinely, there were parts of it that had me kind of going like, while I was reading it. Just, But for some reason, I was very entertained. I think it's because the premise of it was so outlandish that I kind of took it for what it was. I took it as this really weird, strange little piece of something. And I just enjoyed my time reading it. Did some of the scenes between Dolly and Rabbit kind of make me want to gouge my eyesight? Just a little bit. Just a little tiny bit. The motel room. If you've read it, you know. If you haven't read it, like most of the world probably hasn't, you don't need to know. It's okay. You rest assured. You don't need to know. I am very happy that I did not have to buy this book and I managed to read it online, because if I had had to buy this book, perhaps my rating would have been lower, because I would have been annoyed that I spent money on it. I can definitely see why Chandler ended up DNFing this. I think that motel room scene was about 60% of the way through. So I see why she put it down. I, however, was determined to power through, and I did. Am I better for having done that? No. But hey, now I can say that I've read it. The fourth book that I ended up reading was The Unrequited by Saffron A. Kent. As you can imagine, Chandler gave this book 5 stars. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I liked this. I didn't read it as a romance, so to say. I read it as really problemed girl does really weird, stupid things. And things ensue. I really cannot explain why I loved it as much as I did. I think it's just because I loved how morally dubious the characters were and how unashamed they were of being bad people. I do really like a good morally grey character and just kind of a major dickhead character. So I found this book fun. It was really fast paced, very engaging, and I enjoyed it. I definitely see why Chandler liked it. It is up there with like those dark and twisty reads that I always know Chandler loves. So it was nice to finally read one of her dark and twisty recommendations. The last book that I read was Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. Chandler's all-time favourite book. The shiniest, brightest 5 stars that she could ever give. And I gave it 2 stars. I was disappointed. And I'm still sad about it. I really wanted to love Punk 57. At the very least, I wanted to really like it. But here I am. 2 stars. Love that for me. Punk 57 did the kind of thing that I don't like when I'm reading, which is it had what could have been a really good, really fun plot, but it was just riddled with so many strange things that did not fit and felt very out of place. Stalking, breaking and entering. Sexy? That's not sexy. So there was that. I don't really think saying that is much of a spoiler because it doesn't really explain when or where that happens. And to anyone that finds breaking and entering very not sexy, maybe stay away from this one because it happens more than once. Just saying, if a randomer showed up in my room, I wouldn't want to shag them. Hell no. So to round this up, we are going to talk about what I liked, what I didn't like, and things that surprised me as a first-time romance reader. I'm counting myself as a first-time romance reader. We don't talk about the fact that I've read historical romances. We put that one aside, okay? This is romance. Don't know why I did that voice. Anyways, let's get on to the things I liked. The banter between characters was elite. I really enjoyed that. I love a good bit of back and forth between characters. I think it's so good. I love whenever relationships have that, do we like each other, do we not like each other? Are we ripping the shit into each other because we don't like each other, or are we doing it because we really like each other? I vibe with that, so I found a lot of the character interactions just really fun and really funny. A lot of them weren't taken too seriously and just kind of consisted of the characters ripping into each other, but doing it for the giggle, you know? I really liked that. I found that really fun, and it made reading these books really easy and engaging. Speaking of engaging, basically all of these books were really easy and enjoyable to read. The thing that I kind of didn't expect was just how easy and fast-paced these were. I would literally sit down to read and then end up like halfway through the book in one sitting. Not expecting that at all. The best example of this I have is whenever I read Attachments and Dear Ava, literally in like a 30-hour period of time. I read those books so fast, and then with the rest of them, I read them pretty fast as well. There's something about the way that they were all written that just made it easy to just... You get me? Just... I don't know a more eloquent way of saying that. They were just so easy to read, and I really enjoyed that, because after reading a bunch of university books this year, it was so nice to kind of like turn my brain off for a bit. Now let's talk about what I didn't like. If I read the word pussy one more time, I'm gonna throw myself out the window. Oh my god. It got to the point that when I was reading these, that it just felt obnoxious. It stopped being a word. Do you ever get that when you read something so many times it stops being a word? The word pussy doesn't exist to me anymore. It's not a word. It's just not. I know that's like such a weird niche thing to complain about, but like here I am complaining. On the note of reoccurring themes that just confused me, why do all of these 17-year-olds have tattoos? I'm just wondering. Someone please explain to me, how did Rabbit end up covered in tattoos? How did that happen? How does Misha have a full sleeve and a bunch of random tattoos? He's 17. He's 17. I'm pretty sure the guy in Dear Ava also had a bunch of tattoos. Also, what was up with the tattoo in the unrequited? What? I don't know. Maybe this is because I have tattoos, so I'm more keenly aware of these things, but like, I don't think romance authors understand the healing time of tattoos or the legalities of having tattoos. But that was just a little nitpicky thing that every time it came up, I was like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me? Obviously, those things are not a big deal, but there were things that just kind of made me roll my eyes when I was reading. Now let's talk about some things that surprised me. The first major thing that really shocked me whenever I was reading these books was the fact they all had dual narratives. Maybe this is just a thing with Chandler and she just really likes dual narratives, but holy shit, every book had a dual narrative and I was not expecting that. I'm so used to reading single narratives that whenever it came to this whole the girl has a narrative, the guy has a narrative, ooh, back and forth, I was so confused. When I was reading attachments, I was like, oh, this is a bit odd, but I understand it because it's kind of, sort of, all just from the guy's point of view as he's reading emails. So I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then I got on to Dear Ava and I was like, whoa, what do you mean Knox has a point of view? I did not expect that. And then it got on to Sick Fox and then the Unrequited. And it just, dual narratives, bro. Dual narratives. It's been so long since I have read a dual narrative that it really just threw me. And I didn't expect going into romance the amount of dual narratives. But apparently, as said by my friend who is a big romance reader, it's a big thing. I did not know that. Another thing that surprised me was how much I liked the plots. I feel like this has a lot to do with the fact I picked some of Chandler's favourite books, and in one case a book that I would assume is one of her least favourites, but I actually really did enjoy the plots of these books. Like, surprisingly so. I find them all fun, fast-paced, and pretty unique. Though Dear Ava and Punk 57 kind of have a lot of mirroring things going on with the whole bad boy, also morally dubious girl, hating each other, grr, fighting, I don't know, weird stuff, set in high school, woo, tattoos. I weirdly vibed with it and enjoyed all the storylines. So that was a positive that I didn't expect at all to come out of this. In conclusion, will I read more romance? Maybe. Honestly, maybe I will. I think I actually want to read some more Penelope Douglas because I feel like Punk 57 was just not up my alley. Because of the amount of good things I've heard about the likes of Credence and Birthday Girl, I really want to read those. I like darker things, and the big age gap relationship in Birthday Girl intrigues me. So I think I'm gonna read it and see what comes of it. I think the main thing that I've discovered through doing this is just because a book has sex scenes in it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna love it. Even though I didn't necessarily love these books, there were a few that I really did like, and I want to read more like them because, I don't know, apparently I'm someone who reads porn for the plot. Who'da thunk? And with that, this is the end of the very first You Are What You Read, Chandler Ainsley edition. I hope you guys really liked this video. I had so much fun filming it, collecting all the books, and just exploring the romance genre. If you guys have any other genres you want me to kind of deep dive into, or people you want me to read like, please drop a comment down below, tell me some names. I have a couple of ideas that are a little bit half-baked right now, but I'm excited to do more videos like this. This was honestly so much fun, and this is the kind of content I want to make moving forward. I want to do a lot of really dedicated reading vlogs because I don't know, they're just my favourite thing to do. If you guys like this, please give the video a like, it means so much to me. Drop a comment if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more from me, or if you want to see any more You Are What You Read. And with that, that's all from me. Thank you so much for coming on this ride with me, considering the fact that this video is probably dead ass near an hour long. Oops, you are simply the best. And I'm giving you all of my Honey Nut Love Cheerios. Mwah. Thank you. And